Can you hear me, Stuart? No?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think the microphone can, but I can repeat it.
Okay, Thank you. Stuart, I heard a report during the last flood from the AGSE. They were talking to the city water guy that actually looks after the city water supply, and he was indicating to me that to the audience that the desalination plant was working 100% during the full flood. Now, and that was because of the contaminants that actually come into the system, and they were trying to obviously work with that. So I guess it's a no-brainer to me that why wouldn't we reduce the level of the dam as a mitigation arrangement if we're already having the desalination plant turned on 100%? Can you comment on that?
Yeah, so we have changed the way that we operate the desal plant. We're no longer following the old rules where we turn it off when the dams are full. And it is largely because of the water quality concerns after the bushfires, severe bushfires in the catchment, 2019-20, followed by those big fire-putting out rains that led to massive runoff. We've had water quality problems in Warragamba Dam since then, and they were exacerbated during the recent floods. So yes, the desalination plant has continued to operate, and the reason for that is this. I've gone into it if I had more time, because this is another part of why it's important to have these alternative opportunities, alternative supplies in your portfolio of drinking water resources, is that being able to supply that 15% of Sydney's drinking water through the desalination plant is 15% that doesn't need to be treated at Prospect water filtration plant. So when you have severe water quality problems in the dams we currently have, that slows down the treatment at Prospect water filtration plant, makes it a lot more difficult, and we get away with it because we can slow it down by 15% because we've got the desal operating. You would have noticed after these most recent floods, Sydney Water had an alert out for all the people in the Orchard Hills water filtration plant area, so around Penrith, who were asked to conserve water. Don't waste the water, because they're having trouble keeping up with demand, keeping supply up with demand, because that system has no alternative source, it has no desalination plant. So yes, there's a huge value in all sorts of circumstances, including water quality challenges, to have this diversified water supply portfolio, and we probably will keep it running for that reason.
Stuart, could you just go on to if the dam wall was raised, the same sort of question. If the dam wall was raised, the same question with the water quality, how,
Yeah. So this has actually been a concern of mine as well, but it applies, so with water quality, there are lots of issues with water quality that actually relate to how much water is in the dam and how quickly that water has come into the dam. When we've had problems with water quality in the dam, they tend to have been at the end of the millennium drought. We had low supplies in the dam, we had a big rainfall event that came in that stirred everything up, and we ended up with a big blue-green algal bloom in 2007 on the dam. The more water you have in your dam at that time, the better the ability is to be able to buffer it. So to be able to buffer those water quality impacts. So there are advantages that we need to understand and manage around keeping a reasonable full supply level in there. But this option, when you start to talk about flattening out that gradient, what it means is for the top part of the dam, you might have less water in it than you would have previously had. But as you go further down, you've actually got more water in it than you would have previously had. And that's when the real water quality challenges occur. The lower down you get, the more you struggle. There are also issues potentially, I think, with raising the Warragamba Dam wall. I actually spoke at a parliamentary inquiry on this point, that if you raise the dam wall, then you're going to inundate parts of the catchment that aren't normally inundated, aren't normally flooded, and that will have water quality impacts as all that water washes back into Sydney's drinking water supply. And we don't really understand how severe they might be, because it's hard to run an experiment on that point. But either way, all of these situations, I think, have implications for water quality that need to be very carefully understood and managed.
Thank you. I know we do have some more questions, but we are running out of time here. And I do just want to acknowledge that Robin Preston has made the time to come here and to listen to us. And I do have a question, Robin. Given what you've heard today, and I'm hoping that you will be able to separate this from the raising the dam wall. What is the appetite right now within the state government for mitigating the current dam by 12 metres? Because we have heard that there is no appetite. Is that view changing?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
How about that? Okay. Just in relation to what I've heard today, can I give you my 100% commitment in lowering the current levels of Warragamba Dam?
Yes!
So much so that on Thursday of the last day of Parliament, when it sat, I gave a notice of motion. Some of you might have seen it on my Facebook page that said just that. So I actually have a meeting with the Premier's office and key stakeholders this week to talk about that. I'll be taking forward your comments. One thing that hasn't been mentioned that I haven't heard is the issue of drains all around the Hawkesbury Valley and how clogged and blocked they are. My recommendation in both inquiries was any development above the floodplain, I'm talking around about Box Hill or Marsden Park, any future development, we should be levying every single block, and that levy should be going towards clearing out the drains in Hawkesbury Valley. So that's something that I think we need to push as well. So you have my 100% commitment that I will take from this meeting. I've already done it myself. And can I just say, I have other members of Parliament in areas that are impacted like this as well. I'm talking about Mulgoa, Penrith, Riverston, and I hope Prue Carr's area as well at Londonderry, who would be impacted, and Peter Seacrews that are of the same opinion as me as releasing water from the dam in the current levels that it's at. Thank you.
I'll take one more question if anyone would like to.
I'd just like to know if Robin would like to take Stuart with her meet at the, what's his name? Mr. Peritone.
Perhaps they could have a chat about that after this meeting. Yes, we've got one more question over here for the gentleman over there, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up.
Sorry, thanks, Stuart. And Robin, thank you. There's not a person in the rear view who wasn't delighted to hear your commitment. So along with that commitment, there obviously needs to be these regulatory changes that we see on the slide that's currently up. Would you like to hazard a guess as to how long that's likely to take? Because we're all hearing on a daily basis there's another flood coming, there's another flood coming. There's a lot of people going to walk out of this room tonight, and with all due respect to your commitment, Robin, if those regulatory changes are going to take 6 months, we're going to walk out fairly despondent.
And I do think that that's a feeling that many of us here in this room have, that the change has come far too late. We are now running over time, and so I would like to conclude today's event. Thank you to Stuart for what was a very informed and informative discussion. Arrived here today, we took him out to Cornwallis and we showed him the canyon that has emerged there since the 2021 flood and has expanded significantly in the subsequent 2 floods. And we also took him to a few properties along there, one of which the house is teetering on the edge of collapse into the river. So thank you for taking that time as well to see firsthand the devastation that's been caused out here by the floods. Above all, I think you have confirmed what many of us thought. We are primed for another flood. The soils are as you have described them, and that is a significant factor in the impact we're going to have, I think, in the next few weeks and months. But on the other side, this is mitigation of Warragamba Dam, an achievable task. It can be done. The water in the dam can be lowered. Water can be secured for wider Sydney. And as you've heard today, there are benefits in diversifying the water supply. rainfall independent supply, which benefits both floods and droughts. We've also heard today that we are living in unprecedented times. And in unprecedented times, we need unprecedented action. And that is why 6 months really just isn't fast enough for us, because many of us won't be here. The businesses will close, the town will shut down, the farms just won't operate. Everyone knows the Hawkesbury Valley will be decimated. The cost of inaction and delays will be catastrophic, and something needs to be done now. We just need the political will to do it. Now is the time for strong leadership and bold action. If you haven't already taken the handout, please do. There are, I think they're at the front desk on your way out. It will give you additional information and contact details for your local, state and federal politicians. The most important thing that everyone in this room can do today is to write to